Welcome to Streaming News Network, where we deliver balanced reporting with the facts that matter. Morning Edition by Claude McDaniel. Please like and subscribe.
This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. A Florida judge has sentenced 21-year-old Savon Morrison to 45 years in prison for his role in the random killing of 49-year-old Jeffrey Chapman in Clearwater during 2022. The sentence includes 15 years for manslaughter and 30 years for violating probation from an earlier armed carjacking conviction, with the terms to be served one after the other. Court testimony revealed Morrison was only 18 years old and on probation when he and another man, Jermaine Bennett, allegedly set out to confront Bennett's former girlfriend's new boyfriend. After failing to locate their intended target, the pair reportedly spent hours driving around, damaging vehicles, assaulting an elderly man with a tire iron, and eventually attacking Chapman as he rode his bicycle along Clearwater Beach. Prosecutors said Chapman was struck from his bicycle and beaten to death without any provocation. Surveillance video of the attack was presented during the trial. During the sentencing hearing, Chapman's daughter told the court her father was murdered for sport and questioned why someone already given a second chance through probation committed another violent crime. The court also reviewed Morrison's earlier conviction for a violent armed carjacking committed when he was 15 years old, with prosecutors arguing it demonstrated a continuing pattern of dangerous behavior. The judge ultimately rejected a request for a life sentence but concluded that a lengthy prison term was warranted given the severity of the crimes. This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. A federal judge in Miami has awarded more than $314 million in damages to 3 American citizens who said they were imprisoned and tortured while being held in Venezuela. The ruling was issued after Venezuelan leader Nicolas Maduro, businessman Alex Saab, several former Venezuelan officials, and an alleged drug trafficking organization failed to respond to the civil lawsuit. As a result, the court entered a default judgment in favor of the plaintiffs. The 3 Americans told the court they endured months of physical and psychological abuse while in custody, including electric shocks, severe beatings, prolonged isolation, and other forms of mistreatment that they say continue to affect them today. The men were among 10 Americans released by Venezuela in December of 2023 during a prisoner exchange that also secured the release of Alex Saab from United States custody. According to the lawsuit, the Americans were detained as part of a broader effort to use United States citizens as leverage following Saab's extradition to the United States in 2021. The case was brought under the Federal Anti-Terrorism Act, a law that allows American victims of terrorism to pursue civil damages and, in certain cases, seek the seizure of assets connected to those found responsible. This is Claude McDaniel for Streaming News Network. A college football player says he has lost both his scholarship and his chance to continue his athletic career after taking time away from his team following the sudden death of his mother. Victory Vaca, a senior defensive lineman at Western Kentucky University, says he returned home to California after his mother passed away in April. He believed he had the team's support and planned to return for the upcoming football season. However, university officials later canceled his athletic scholarship, classifying him as a failure to report. That designation prevented him from entering the National Collegiate Athletic Association transfer portal under a scholarship cancellation exemption. His request for a waiver was also denied. Vaca says there was a misunderstanding about when he was expected to return and believes communication between both sides broke down during a difficult period of grief. University officials have stated there was no personal animosity, but said players are expected to maintain communication with the program. They also indicated Vaca would not have been ready to compete after being away from team activities for an extended period. The decision has drawn attention to how colleges balance athletic commitments with compassion during personal tragedies, while leaving Vaca with 1 semester remaining before graduation and uncertainty about his final season of eligibility. This is Claude McDaniel for Streaming News Network. A man was killed Tuesday morning after being struck by a tractor-trailer while fleeing from federal immigration agents in St. Augustine, Florida. According to the Florida Highway Patrol, the incident occurred shortly before 7 o'clock during an operation involving Homeland Security investigations and Immigration and Customs enforcement. Authorities say 4 people exited a vehicle and ran from agents. Investigators report that one of the individuals crossed State Road 16 and entered the path of an oncoming tractor-trailer. The driver stopped immediately and attempted to provide assistance, but the man died at the scene. Several bystanders, including a veterinary nurse and an off-duty firefighter, also rushed to help. The nurse performed cardiopulmonary resuscitation while others checked for signs of a pulse, but their efforts were unsuccessful. The Department of Homeland Security later identified the deceased as a Mexican national but has not released his name publicly. Officials say the reason for the enforcement encounter remains under investigation. The Florida Highway Patrol, Homeland Security investigations, and local law enforcement are continuing to examine the circumstances surrounding the fatal incident. This is Claude McDaniel for Streaming News Network. A Florida candidate for the United States House of Representatives is facing intense criticism after posting a video containing inflammatory remarks about President Donald Trump. William Upham, a write-in candidate in Florida's 5th Congressional District and a former Marine who was medically discharged last year, released a video in which he described President Trump as the Antichrist and made statements saying the president must be killed. The remarks prompted swift condemnation from military officials and public leaders. The United States Marine Corps issued a statement emphasizing that Upham is no longer a Marine and that his comments violate the values and oath associated with military service. The service said his statements do not reflect the principles of the Marine Corps. Acting Secretary of the Navy Hung Chow also denounced the video, calling the remarks unacceptable and stressing that Upham does not represent the values of the nation's armed forces. Although Upham later made comments opposing violence for personal revenge, his earlier statements drew widespread criticism because they appeared to advocate violence against the President of the United States. Authorities have not announced any criminal charges related to the video, and no additional official actions have been reported. This is Claude McDaniel of Streaming News Network. The United States Coast Guard has suspended its search for 3 people missing after a cabin cruiser capsized in San Francisco Bay near Alcatraz Island. Officials say search crews covered approximately 950 square nautical miles over 23 hours but were unable to locate the missing passengers or the sunken vessel. Coast Guard leaders called the decision to suspend the search a difficult one, while expressing hope that answers may still come through the ongoing investigation. Authorities now believe 20 adults were aboard the 50-foot vessel when it was struck by a wave Tuesday evening and overturned. One passenger, 79-year-old Clifford Joseph Boysa, died after being brought ashore. 3 others were hospitalized and later released. Investigators believe the passengers, most of them family members, had gathered for a memorial service at the time of the accident. Officials say there is a strong possibility that some passengers became trapped inside the vessel as it sank. Rescuers and nearby Good Samaritans pulled several people from the water under difficult conditions. Coast Guard officials credited those civilian responders with helping save lives before emergency crews arrived. The cause of the accident remains under investigation. This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. An Idaho woman accused of killing her 18-month-old twin toddlers has been denied bond as her criminal case moves forward. Andrea Shaw is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder after investigators alleged that she intentionally suffocated her children in May of 2025 before claiming their deaths were caused by reactions to routine vaccinations. During a court hearing, Shaw's attorney asked the judge to significantly reduce her bond. In support of that request, a registered nurse testified that she had gotten to know Shaw following the children's deaths and described her as a grieving mother who appeared deeply concerned about the health of her unborn child during a subsequent pregnancy. However, the judge rejected the request and instead revoked bond entirely, reportedly concluding that Shaw posed a potential danger to her newborn child. Authorities say Shaw gave birth just days before her arrest earlier this month. The case remains in its early stages, and the allegations against Shaw have not been proven in court. She is scheduled to return to court on August 18, where she is expected to enter a plea. This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. Country music artist Zach John King has announced the cancellation of his next 2 weeks of concerts following the sudden death of his father. The 29-year-old singer shared the news in an emotional social media post, describing his father, John King, as his family's rock, his best friend, and a man whose faith shaped every aspect of his life. King wrote that his father passed away suddenly and said the loss has left a deep void for his family. He also expressed confidence that his father is now at peace, drawing comfort from his Christian faith. The singer told fans he will step away from the stage to grieve with his loved ones before returning to touring, saying that is what his father would have wanted. Messages of support quickly poured in from fellow country music artists and fans, many offering prayers and words of encouragement during the difficult time. Zach John King has spent much of the summer performing alongside several major country artists and is expected to resume his schedule after the brief pause, though no changes have been announced regarding his upcoming fall tour. This is Claude McDaniel with Streaming News Network. Mason Haynes, a longtime celebrity bodyguard known for protecting members of the Kardashian family and other high-profile entertainers, has died following a motorcycle accident. He was 52 years old. According to a fundraising page created to support his family, Haynes died on July 4, just 2 days before what would have been his 53rd birthday. He is survived by his wife, Faye, and their 2 children. Friends and colleagues described him as a devoted family man, mentor, and protector whose kindness matched his imposing presence. Haynes spent years providing security for celebrities, including members of the Kardashian family, as well as Kevin Hart, Charlie Puth, Lewis Hamilton, and Nicki Minaj. He entered the security profession while attending school and eventually built a career in executive protection for internationally recognized clients. His employer, Trojan Security United Kingdom, honored him in a public tribute, calling him an absolute legend in the close protection profession and expressing condolences to his family. A fundraiser has been established to assist Haynes' family with immediate expenses and to celebrate the life of a man remembered by many as a trusted protector and loyal friend.
Thank you for listening to Streaming News Network videos and our audio reports. Please like and subscribe to our news channel.